Before proceeding to the items on our agenda, it's my sad duty to pay tribute to the memory of the late President of the Republic of Zambia, His Excellency Michael Sata, who passed away on Tuesday, 28 October 2014. On behalf of the General Assembly, I request the representative of Zambia to convey our condolences to the government and people of Zambia and to the bereaved family of His Excellency Michael Sata. Now I invite representatives to stand and observe a minute of silence in tribute to the memory of His Excellency Michael Sata. Thank you. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is with a deep personal sadness that I learned of President Sata's passing this week. Over the years, I had the pleasure of working with President Sata on many issues of mutual importance to our two countries. He was a remarkable man of peace whose efforts impacted not only the people of Zambia and the African continent, but indeed the entire world. The President's work ethics and his tireless devotion to the Zambian people will long be remembered, as will his legendary journey into the highest political office in Zambia. President Sata was a one of a kind, and he will be greatly missed. May his soul rest in eternal peace. I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Zambia.
Mr. President, Your Excellencies, I stand before this august House representing a nation in mourning. His Excellency, Mr. Michael Sata, President of the Republic of Zambia, passed away on the night of Tuesday, 28 October 2014 in London, UK, where he had gone for medical attention. His death comes only 4 days after the nation was awash with joy in celebrating its Golden Jubilee, marking 50 years of independence. Born in 1937 in Mpika district in northern Zambia, the late President Sata was the 5th Republican president. He came into office in September 2011 after winning the presidential elections and unseating the movement for multi-party democracy, which had ruled Zambia for 20 years. President Sata was a prominent figure in the political history of Zambia. Before joining politics, he worked in different capacities, including the police force, the London transport, later as a business practitioner, and eventually easing naturally into political sphere. The late president's political career began from the lower ranks of ward councillor, gradually rising to political eminence through his election as Republican president in 2011. It may be recalled that in 1991, President Sata was one of the prominent voices who left government to join the call for the reintroduction of multi-party democracy. During this historical nation reawakening, his political acumen was key in influencing the national drive for political freedom and restoration of other democratic rights. He held various portfolios thereafter, including Minister for Health, Minister for Local Government, Minister for Labor, and District Governor for Lusaka, among others. His last position before forming the Patriotic Front was that of a minister without portfolio and National Secretary of the ruling party then. This made him the third senior most in the hierarchy of late President Frederick Chiluba's administration. Owing to his unique qualities, he found himself being assigned some of the most challenging portfolios. Rather than deter him, he pushed to achieving astounding success, which further enhanced his political standing. The late President Sata believed in improving the welfare of all Zambians, especially women and children, and his national appeal grew with time. He was the grassroots politician in the true sense of the word. His contribution to Zambia's continued peace and tranquility, as well as to consolidating the country's democratic dispensation, is unparalleled. On 2 occasions, when multitudes of his supporters wanted to take to the streets in the aftermath of the 2006 and 2008 general and presidential elections in dispute of the results, he appealed for calm and restraint for the sake of national unity, thereby putting national interest above self. The late president almost single-handedly led his political party, the Patriotic Front, to grow from its humble beginning to eventually dominating the Zambian political landscape. He contested presidential elections immediately after resigning from government in 2001 and subsequent elections of 2006 and the presidential by-election in 2008 before finally recording a resounding victory at the 2011 elections. In his hallmark fashion, after each election, he would immediately launch the next elections campaign, starting with a countrywide tour to thank those that had voted for him. His voice in the political opposition was thus a constant and effective threat to the incumbent governments. President Sata was well known for his brevity and candidness. He was equally humorous, generous, and exhibited a degree of humility and friendliness rarely characteristic of people with power. Mr. President, Zambia has lost an astounding political organizer who caused sleepless nights in his political opponents. He will be fondly remembered as a man of action and also a president who contributed to Zambia's economic development through massive investment in infrastructure and opened up Zambia's intraconnectivity in a manner never seen before in just 3 years of his rule. The late President Michael Sata has been a key supporter of the United Nations as its work resonated with his passion for service to his fellow man. His addresses to the high-level segments of the 67th, 68th, and 69th session can attest to this fact. On behalf of the government and the people of the Republic of Zambia, I wish to thank the President of the General Assembly, the Secretary General of the United Nations, through whom the member states are observing this commemoration, and to the entire United Nations membership for joining hands with the Zambian people at this great hour of need. I want to assure you that our nation is greatly appreciative of your actions. Let me therefore end by informing the Assembly that the transition process is now underway and in accordance with the Zambian constitutional provisions, His Honor, the Vice President of the Republic of Zambia, Dr. Guy Scott, is acting as President pending the presidential by-elections, which must be held within 90 days of the death of the incumbent. Government is gratified that the Zambian people continue to be united, and now united in grief, are looking to paying their last respects to their late president in peace and dignity. We rely on the solidarity and best wishes of our friends in the international community to overcome this national tragedy. May the soul of our dearly departed President, His Excellency Mr. Michael Sata, rest in eternal peace. I thank you.
I thank the distinguished representative of Zambia. I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Bolivia on behalf of the Group of 77 and China.
Mr. President, Excellencies, I have the honor to speak on behalf of the Group of 77 and China to pay tribute to Mr. Michael Sata, beloved President of the Republic of Zambia, who passed away on October 28, 2014, in London at King Edward VII Hospital. On behalf of the Group of 77 and China, I wish to express our solidarity with the Republic of Zambia and reiterate our heartfelt condolences on the death of President Sata. Mr. Sata became the 5th President of Zambia on September 23, 2011, after a popular poll. His achievements and efforts constitute an important contribution to the development and growth of the Republic of Zambia. Furthermore, the Group of 77 and China will continue to support the valuable initiatives of that country. To the people of Zambia, we know that words can give little consolation to relieve grief, but we would like to express our deep sorrow for the loss of such an important leader. I thank you.
I thank the distinguished representative of Bolivia, and I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Malawi on behalf of African states.
Mr. President, the African Group wishes to condole the acting President of the Republic of Zambia, His Honor Mr. Guy Scott, and the people of Zambia for the loss of one of Africa's finest leaders, His Excellency Michael Sata, who passed away on 20th October 2014 in London, in the United Kingdom, at the age of 77. We join the people of Zambia in this sad moment in paying our tribute to a leader who devoted his whole life to what was right for the people of his country, the African continent, and the whole world. President Sata was a man of substance and vision. During his campaign to the presidency, he carried to his people the message of peaceful coexistence among all Zambians. He also campaigned for the socio-economic development of his country, and he strived to see Zambia prosper to great heights. Mr. President, Africa will fondly remember President Sata as a fearless freedom fighter, a reformer, and one of the architects of the liberation struggle that led to the independence of Zambia and other African countries. We know that President Sata will be missed by those who knew him personally, and officially for the ideals that he firmly believed in and for the courage he had in ensuring that his people had the basic needs they deserved and beyond. We in the African Group are profoundly sorry for the loss of a true son of Zambia and Africa. He worked tirelessly to promote peace and stability, not only for his own country, Zambia, but for the whole of the African continent and beyond. In this period of sorrow, the African Group wishes to urge all Zambian nationals to remain calm, united, and peaceful. May his soul rest in peace.
I thank the distinguished representative of Malawi. I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Japan on behalf of the Asia-Pacific states.
Mr. President, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I have the great honor to speak on behalf of the Asia-Pacific Group at this solemn gathering of the General Assembly to pay tribute to the memory of His Excellency Mr. Michael Sata, late President of the Republic of Zambia. Mr. President, history will no doubt remember the late President Sata as a man of conviction and action. Throughout his term in office that began in 2011, the late President worked diligently to improve the lives of ordinary citizens. His strong leadership had profoundly contributed to the betterment of Zambia's society. He carried out policies that catered to pro-poor and equitable development and shed the light on the have-nots of the nation's population. In particular, the late President realized the provision of free medical services to the people and built additional 650 health posts throughout the country. In the field of education, he promoted the construction of facilities for elementary and secondary schools, thereby doubling the number of school buildings in Zambia. Furthermore, he vigorously promoted infrastructure development in rural areas. The late President also underscored the importance of realizing social justice. He established an anti-corruption commission and increased the staffs and budget for the Auditor General's office. Mr. President, he was a strong supporter of the United Nations as well. In his address to this august assembly in September 2013, which sadly turned out to be his last appearance on this podium, he solemnly declared his belief in multilateralism and his determination to work towards international peace and development through this organization. One notable instance of his commitment to the United Nations was Zambia's active role in addressing various challenges that landlocked developing countries, so-called LLDCs, are faced with. The Zambian delegation, in its capacity as chair of the group of LLDCs, has been taking the lead in this field. His passing is undoubtedly a tremendous loss for this world body. Mr. President, in my national capacity, I would like to briefly touch upon the privileged relationship that Japan had with Zambia and its late President Sata. This year marks the 50th anniversary of the Zambian independence. It was on the day of the closing ceremony of the Tokyo Summer Olympics held in 1964 that Northern Rhodesia became independent as Zambia. newly founded Zambia's athletes proudly marched onto the field in Tokyo, brandishing their national flag. Japanese people were deeply impressed by their march, which symbolized a huge expectation towards their bright future. Since then, our two nations have been fostering strong and friendly relationships. Japan's Imperial Highnesses, Prince and Princess Akishino, visited Zambia last July to celebrate the 50th anniversary of bilateral diplomatic relations. The late President Sata had made significant contributions in strengthening our bilateral ties. Through his visit to Japan, including his official visit in 2012 and his participation in the 5th Tokyo International Conference on African Development, TICAD-5 in 2013, he personally deepened exchanges with our people. I myself had the honor to meet with President Sata in January this year on the occasion of the African Union Summit held in Addis Ababa. It was thus with great sadness that I learned of the sudden passing of the late President. Mr. President, the world has lost a great politician. On this solemn occasion, in my capacity as President of the Asia-Pacific Group for the month of October, I wish to convey my deepest condolences to the family of the late President and to the government and people of the Republic of Zambia. It is our strong belief that Zambian people have the strength to overcome the sadness and to continue to work towards further prosperity. May his soul rest in peace. I thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the distinguished representative of Japan, and I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Estonia on behalf of Eastern European states.
Mr. President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it was with great sadness that I learned of the passing of His Excellency Mr. Michael Sata, the President of the Republic of Zambia. As chairman of the Group of Eastern European States, please allow me, on behalf of our group, to express our deepest condolences to the people of Zambia and to the family of late President Sata with regard to this sad news. I would like to take the opportunity to pay tribute to the late President, who was a well-respected member of the international community and a committed leader of the Zambian people. History will remember President Sata as a charismatic leader whom his own nation is remembering as a passionate competitor, a true Zambian, a man of conviction and great determination. As has been noted by his friends, he was extremely dedicated about anything he had decided to achieve. Throughout his political career, he played an important role in the public life of his country and remained a vocal advocate of the Zambian people. May he rest in peace.
I thank the distinguished representative of Estonia, and I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Grenada on behalf of Latin America and Caribbean states.
Mr. President, representatives, on behalf of the member states of the Group of Latin America and Caribbean countries, GULAC, and the Permanent Mission of Grenada, I convey sincere condolences on the passing of the President Michael Sata to the permanent representative of Zambia, his staff, the family of the late President, and the government and people of Zambia. Zambians to whom I have spoken said to me that the late President Michael Sata was a hard-working man for his people, his country, and Africa, years before he became president. Throughout his political life, and as president, he worked with passion for the poor and the marginalized, and he was always a man of action. He was a policeman, a trade union leader, a railroad sweeper, a porter, and a president. He was a lifelong learner, graduating with a degree only in 2011. But through it all, he never lost his common touch and a passion to improve the lives of his people. He leaves a model of determination to be emulated by political leaders. In celebrating his life, it is fitting to recall the late president's celebration of the reform of the healthcare system in his country during his tenure as Minister of Health, an accomplishment worth taking note of in face of the healthcare challenges in Africa today. In the words of a poet, and I quote, "To earn the appreciation of earnest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate the beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, a redeemed social condition, to know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived, is to have succeeded." Michael Sata succeeded. This passing of the head of state of Zambia, a man of courage who died in the search for sustainable development in his country, diminishes us all. May his soul rest in peace. I thank you.
I thank the distinguished representative of Grenada, and I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Sweden on behalf of Western European and others.
Mr. President, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, on this very solemn occasion, I have the honor to speak on behalf of the Western European and other states group. It is with profound sadness and great sorrow that we have learned of the passing of the President of the Republic of Zambia, His Excellency, Mr. Michael Sata. We just celebrated Zambia's Golden Jubilee last week on October 24, and history will remember President Sata as a leader committed to building his country during its first 50 years of independence. We recognize his many accomplishments and his desire for the political and economic development of Zambia. Mr. President, throughout his term in office, President Sata was committed to the cause of social justice, with particular attention to the country's youth. Under his leadership, Zambia continued making great strides towards fulfilling the 8 Millennium Development Goals, particularly in primary school enrollment and the fight against child malnutrition and malaria. We now offer our profound condolences to the government and people of the Republic of Zambia, to his wife, Dr. Christine Kasebe Sata, to his family and relatives, as well as to our dear friends and colleagues of the mission of Zambia here in New York. I thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the distinguished representative of Sweden, and I now I give the floor to the United States representative as host country.
Mr. President, Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the United States of America, I would like to express my government's deep condolences on the passing of Zambian President Michael Sata. We extend our sympathies to the President's family and the people of Zambia during this time of mourning. We honor President Sata's years of service to his country and his leadership in the Southern African region. His many accomplishments will be remembered with respect. We note that the passing of President Sata came just days after Zambia celebrated 50 years of independence, and the United States has considered itself a friend of the people of Zambia throughout this time and has recognized Zambia's strong democratic tradition. As President Obama wrote President Sata on October 21st, the US government has been proud to count Zambia as a partner through Zambia's first 50 years, and we look forward to growing that partnership in the years ahead. We offer our deep condolences. Thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the distinguished representative of the United States.